Welcome to Complete with DLC, the only show where there's no mistakes, only happy little accidents. I'm one of your hosts, Jacob Griffin, and sitting across from me is Big Papa himself, Brad Knight. Get it? Because you bought pop filters.
I did. Now it's Complete with DLC, now with pop filters.
Yeah, we got the pop filter DLC.
Yeah. Cost me $8, so...
Yeah.
Alright.
How's your day been, Brad?
Not too bad, actually. I've been playing a lot of games today. A lot of coffee, a lot of games. It's a good day for me.
Games. A lot of waking up early, going to class, a lot of coming home.
That's for you, not for me.
Yeah, it's awful. But, let's just get into what we're playing this week. Brad, what have you been playing this week?
Well, I've been playing the new game on Xbox One for the game's gold, Numa Breath of Life, I think is how you pronounce that.
I didn't download this, but I did, save it, so, I set it to download, and then I didn't download it, because I need space.
Yeah. It's actually really fun. It's a first-person puzzle game, right?
Right.
So, essentially, as soon as you jump into the game, and you get a lot of gamer score for this game. You get, 100 every 5 minutes.
Yeah, I saw someone getting an achievement. It was, 100 gamer score. I was like, are there, 5 achievements in this game?
I've gotten 3 of them so far, and all have been 100, so... And I've only been playing for, 20 minutes. But, essentially, what it is you jump into the world, and you're one guy walking around, and he's convinced that he's God. So the narrator's going off, and you're the narrator. He's talking about... the world that he's creating and whatnot.
Right.
And as you're progressing through this, castle, mansion thing,
mm-hmm.
he begins to question himself. Why would I make books? If I wrote the books, why do I need them? Or, every room seems to be a puzzle. Why did I make these puzzles? So he's kind of, starting to get confused as maybe he's not God.
Right.
But it's actually fun. It's got that, Portal 2 sarcasm-ish kind of thing to it.
Right.
So the narrator's very, very, cracks jokes, is very sarcastic. He's that kind of guy. And I actually like this kind of puzzle game because the puzzles get difficult pretty quickly.
Right.
So it's not I'm just progressing through the game and learning the story. I'm actually getting challenged, which is it's nice.
Is it good though?
It is. I'm liking it. Although some of the puzzles are kind of, I don't want to say poorly designed, but misleading.
Right.
Because some of them I'm not entirely sure what I'm supposed to be doing, and I solved them completely by accident.
Yeah.
For example, one of them was there's a square lake, right? And inside the lake is a staircase, but because you're God, you can't swim, so you walk on water. So you can't get down into the underwater staircase.
That's interesting. That's actually a really interesting puzzle.
Yeah, so on each side of the lake there are 5 buttons.
Right.
And they're these little black and white tiles that flip as you look at them. Because the whole basis of the game is it's all look-based.
Right.
So there's little blue orbs that do something when you look at them and whatever. But I didn't know what to do, so I'm looking back and forth with these tiles, and every time you look at them, the tiles flip.
Right.
So I just started hitting buttons randomly, and eventually the pool drained. So I'm like, okay, I did something. It works.
Right.
It's a very innovative kind of puzzle game, because the little blue orbs everywhere are your source of, interaction. So if you want to open a door, maybe you look at one of the blue orbs, or sometimes the orbs close the door, or sometimes the orbs rotate puzzles, or rotate bridges, or they, play sounds.
Yeah.
So every room is a different puzzle, and the orbs do a different thing.
Does the game make you feel stupid when you figure out the...
Yeah, the Portal did the same thing, where I complete a puzzle, and I'm like, well, I'm an idiot, I should have figured that out 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, exactly. It's in Portal, I would always get that, double thing of, yes, I solved the puzzle, and then, I'm an idiot. Yeah. How could I not have come up with that, solution earlier?
Yeah. But I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun, and I'm getting some good gamer scores, so I might be able to actually break, I think 32,000 is where I'm sitting at right now.
I forget where I'm at. I'm probably in the 30s, 30,000, but I don't achievement hunt, so...
I find it gives me a reason to go back to games I otherwise wouldn't.
You playing anything else?
Yeah, actually a game we're going to talk about a little bit later called Indivisible.
Yeah?
It's actually kind of fun. I wasn't expecting much from it from the trailer. So what it is it's they say Metroid-inspired RPG kind of thing, right?
Is it a platformer, or is it kind of like a...
Yeah, it's a platformer mixed with Oh, you didn't play Final Fantasy 13. Real-time turn-based combat almost.
Oh, right. I understand the concept of real-time turn-based.
Yeah.
Because I've seen Final Fantasy 13
Yeah, so it's kind of like that. So essentially what you do is you play as the main girl, and you progress through the level doing simple platforming. And the enemies, you interact with them by hitting them, right? So
right.
If they're really weak enemies, and you hit them, because outside of the combat zone or combat stage almost, you can interact with the enemies. And if you kill them with just the basic, like, out-of-game whack,
Right.
then you don't transition into the battle phase. But if they're stronger enemies and you hit them, then you transition into, like, the Final Fantasy battle phase kind of thing. So I thought that was interesting.
That reminds me a lot of the, like, the way you're just describing it, of the South Park game. Did you ever play the South Park game?
No,
that came
but I've
out
seen
to Stick of
gameplay
Truth?
of it, so yeah.
So, like, you have, like, a basic whack that you can do with your weapon when you're just walking around the world, and, like, some things you can, like, break environmental stuff, or you can just, like, kill, like, a rat or something like that that's on the ground.
Yeah.
But, like, some things you hit it with your thing, and then it brings you into the battle phase.
Yeah.
And
It's
but that's
like
turn-based, though.
Yeah. Well,
Because it's, like, Paper Mario.
Yeah.
It's probably the best way to describe it. Like,
I love Paper Mario.
Paper Mario's really fun.
Yeah. But this was actually a lot better than I was expecting. It as you progress through, it's only like a 20-minute game. It took
Right.
about 20 minutes to
Well, yeah, because isn't it only like
it's
a
the
preview?
trailer. Yeah, it's like PT,
Yeah.
except not horror. But
Right.
so yeah, it took me about 20 minutes to beat. And as you progress, you get different members to your crew added, and there's no like explanation as to why you get them. It just so and so joined your party. I'm like, oh, okay. I think it's just introducing the characters.
I assume there would be an explanation during the actual game.
Yeah, I'd imagine if they make it anyway, because it's on Kickstarter. But
Yeah.
but each one plays very differently. Each one has different kinds of attacks. It's really cool. It's pretty entertaining.
Is that about all you played this week?
Yeah, just about those two and the usual Hearthstone and
Yeah.
Heroes. But both of those games are annoying me right now. So
I didn't play a lot this week because my PlayStation screwed me.
it did.
Alright, so for the past couple weeks, I've been getting this intermittent problem where I just can't sign into PlayStation Network. At first, I thought it's just PlayStation Network being itself and being terrible. Then I would go and check the status, and everything's up and running, so I don't get what my problem is. But usually I could fix the problem by just going downstairs, resetting my router, and then resetting my PlayStation. That seemed to have fixed the problem.
Yep.
But Monday or Tuesday, I forget which day it was, I want to say Tuesday, I was getting this problem, and I did my usual fix, and then I kept having the problem. I couldn't sign into PlayStation Network. Went to the thing where it takes you to your error code on the PlayStation to search for it on the PlayStation website.
Code.
Yeah. They couldn't find my error code. So
Unique problem.
Unique problem there. Then I was like, let me check out the forums. There was a fix to the problem of mine, which was to delete your user, like how it has, like, you have your user profile set up
you
where
choose
it goes,
who to sign into.
Yeah. And I deleted that, and then I signed in, I made a new user, signed in again, and then everything seemed fine. I had all my game stuff. I was on PlayStation Network. I was like, everything's hunky-dory in the neighborhood. I still have all my themes and everything. So maybe everything's fine. Then I was like, let me go in and play Mad Max, because that's what I wanted to play.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least while I was waiting for Walking Dead Season 2 to finish downloading. I went in to play Mad Max, and then it started the opening cutscene. Again, that's like before you get to like the main menu.
Yeah.
The first time you play it to like set up the world. I was like, that's odd. It's never done that to me since I've played it again since then. Then I get to the thing, and it said like new game, and that was it. It didn't have continue at the top. I was like, what the hell? So then I like tried it out with a couple different games. Like I went to MLB. My Road to the Show character wasn't there. Then I went to Metal Gear. Started me at the opening 40-minute cutscene, basically.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Went to a bunch of different games. And then I realized that for some reason, all your save data is tied to your user profile.
Yes.
It's not just saved on the hard drive.
Like it used to be.
Then I was like, well, maybe I can get everything from the cloud, because usually it tells me that it uploads my saves to the cloud anyway.
Yep.
Could only get like 10 things off the cloud.
Yeah, it doesn't update as much as it leads you to believe.
Every time I would go on, though, it'd be like failure to upload to cloud sometimes. And then I would have to upload it to the cloud myself, and then it would do it.
Yeah.
But there was just nothing there. It was like 10 games. And it was all like all my downloadable games besides like I could get my old MLB save, and I could get my really old, I'm assuming it's old, I haven't checked yet, but Far Cry save. I'm very curious to go in there and see where that
picked up.
Yeah, where that picked up. I'm wondering how far behind I am in that. Imagine I open it up on the opening cutscene, and I'm just going to be like, is this for real right now?
So yeah, you lost just about everything,
Well,
right?
at least on PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but I wasn't very far in a lot of these games. Besides like Metal Gear, I had a lot done in.
Yeah.
So that kind of ticked me off. But there were some games that I have on there, like The Witcher, where I wanted to restart it anyway because like I wanted to play it some more, but I'm I'm not that far into the story and I don't know what's happening in it.
Yeah.
Really. Batman I already beat, so
it's not a big deal.
Who cares? The main ones that I was really upset about were my Mad Max and my Metal Gear saves because I was having fun with Mad Max and I was, getting, at least I feel like, pretty far into it. It's good stuff. And Metal Gear, I had a lot of my my upgraded materials and stuff, and it was upsetting. It's
a lot of progress lost, so yeah. I'd be pretty upset too, but
I'm just gonna restart it though once everything dies down because we're in Hell Month tomorrow. Call of Duty comes out. Technically, I'm getting it tonight. So.
Yep, it's the beginning of the end.
First midnight launch I've ever gone to for a Call of Duty.
Really?
I've never been to one for Call of Duty. The only one I ever went to was the GTA 5 one, and that one was insane because the way our GameStop is set up is it's in the middle of in our city. It's in the middle of a shopping
strip
mall, and so there's kind of like a big store on the side of it. It's kind of at the end of the little store area, and that went around the corner of that big store of the Burlington Coat Factory.
Yeah, there was a line of 200 people.
Yeah,
200, 300 people.
It was insane. I was in the middle of it, and so
I've never been a huge fan of midnight releases simply because the idea of a midnight release is you get it, you go home and you play it, right?
Yeah.
But I'd be too tired.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I got the game, but I want to take a nap.
The problem, I'm going to take a nap after this podcast is recorded probably.
You're going to prepare?
Yeah. And then I'm going to play COD all night because it's going to take all night to install on Xbox One.
Oh yeah, he went on a rant earlier about how the whole takes 17 years to update anything or download anything.
I just have a problem with it disc-based at least. If it was only for downloadable games, I get it because I'm downloading the whole game. Mm-hmm. With a disc-based game, I shouldn't have to install it unless I want to, like on Xbox 360. I should be able to just stick in the Call of Duty disc and it plays Call of Duty.
It'd be nice, but this is the new era, so we're in the era of day one patches and...
Alright, that makes sense. If I have to download a patch even, I understand that. But if I have to install an entire game off a disc that I already just have, I think that's dumb.
Yeah, well...
it has everything on the disc already. Just play off the disc.
Unfortunately, that is the world we live in now.
Yeah. I mean, midnight launches, too, are going to become a thing of the past. You got to think.
Well, yeah, because it's already a diminishing market.
Yeah.
Discs are kind of getting phased out with downloadable titles.
I mean, this is kind of like... I feel like the next couple years, it's going to be the last hurrah for something like this.
Yeah, Nintendo's new console is rumored to be all digital.
Yeah.
So, the disc phase is ending.
And digital sales are becoming even bigger on just other consoles like PS4, Xbox One. I buy most of my games digitally. Yeah. Bought Fallout 4 digitally.
Yeah, and I'm kind of sad to see the disc kind of era go, because a lot of the discs looked really cool.
It's bittersweet, but it's a nice convenience thing.
At the same time, I don't have to worry about my disc getting scratched.
Or leaving my house, maybe getting stabbed at this midnight launch tonight.
Yes.
I don't have to worry about any of that.
Well, you still have to worry about getting stabbed.
Well, yeah, I still have to worry about... I'm saying with...
You're just not going to take your disc anymore. Actually, now we will, because you still have a disc.
Yeah, I'll still get stabbed at some point in my life. It's inevitable, really.
Yes.
But...
I'm glad you're very confident that you're going to get stabbed.
I am, because, I run my mouth off a little bit too much.
No arguments here.
But that was pretty much all I did this week. I played another episode of The Walking Dead. That game's getting very good.
The game is very good. For a game, I actually really like the Walking Dead game, but I've never watched the show, and I have no desire to watch the show.
I watched the first couple seasons of the show, dropped off on it, never went back.
Although I think that's just me, because I don't watch any
you don't watch anything.
Yeah, I don't watch anything. I don't watch any TV, I don't watch movies, and anything like that. No Game of Thrones, none of that.
But, we've reached the end of what we're playing, and we're going to go into now the news. Alright, Brad, what news stories do you have for me to eat and munch up this week?
I like the sound effects there. I have no idea, but... But I got some good ones. First, let's start off on a little disappointing note. I feel like we should get, the bad stuff out of the way first.
Oh...
So we have Arkham Knight is now offering unconditional refunds to PC gamers through the end of this year, December 31st.
So if you just have it and you don't...
Yeah, they're not asking any questions. If you have it and you don't want it anymore, give it back to them. They don't care.
Wow. It's kind of going to be for some scummy people who could still play the PC version.
Yep, so...
They're just going to get $60 back.
But there is a catch. The offer includes a refund for the season pass of downloadable content provided both the main game and the season pass are returned. You cannot return the pass and keep the game. So if you're returning, you got to return everything.
Yeah, and then you've probably played most of this. Well, actually, no, you haven't because the PC version only just came back now.
Yeah, so the reason they're doing this is because Arkham Knight came back and
it's still broken.
Yep. Users are complaining of the lingering issues with the frame rates and the bugs similar to what happened before they took it off. Some are even saying it's worse than it was before.
And they suggested 12 gigabytes of RAM.
Oh yeah, they instead of fixing the problems, they noticed that the higher end of a system you have, the better the game ran, because the game's not optimized very well. So rather than fix that issue, they just bumped their minimum requirements, which ticked a lot of people off.
I mean... This is just a case of a bad PC port. It happens more often than... Well, not recently, but it used to happen more often than not.
Yeah, PC ports have always been a problem.
Games would not be optimized for PC use, and it would just always come out... It would always be the second banana to the console version.
Yeah.
Which is weird if you really think about it. Especially now with these consoles where they're just basically built on a PC architecture.
Yeah.
You should build a game, at least, dev-wise, maybe build it for PC first and then just kind of...
Port it to console.
Console, yeah.
That could be a possible solution. But Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment came out and said that they're willing to communicate with their players and fix the problems that they can and talk to you about the problems they can't fix.
So basically you're SOL if they can't fix a problem?
That's the impression that it gave me, personally. I'm just curious what kind of issues that you could have that they can't fix. And what is talking to them going to do anything for you?
I don't know.
But, I mean, it's sad that such a good game kind of fell.
Yeah, and especially, too, Warner Brothers usually has some pretty solid PC ports.
Yeah.
The Witcher 3, which they only really published in the US.
Yeah.
That had a solid PC port. I think that was probably built for PC first, if I had to guess, because the first Witcher was a PC-only game. Then Shadow of Mordor was a pretty solid PC port. Mad Max came out fine for PC, so...
Yeah, this is
maybe it's just a dev-by-dev basis, really.
Yeah,
because with this, they didn't even have Rocksteady working on the port to PC. It was Iron Galaxy.
Yeah.
Who's usually a fighting studio. They're usually a fighting or port studio.
Yeah, but Iron Galaxy has a pretty good record, so it's not like they're it's
not like they have
studio.
Bad ports. Yeah. Probably their only other mediocre port was the Borderlands Vita port.
I mean, even that
which I've heard when it came out ran a little poorly, but now runs better and
it was functional, unlike this.
Yeah, at least you could play it on the Vita.
Yeah, but we'll hope that this doesn't happen again, and we can only cross our fingers.
Yeah, we'll really see what it holds.
All right, let's see here. How about this? Blizzard will no longer report World of Warcraft subscriber numbers. I just threw this in here because it's a pretty quick one. And they were quoted as saying, "Note, this is the last quarter we plan to provide subscriber numbers. There are other metrics that are better indicators of the overall Blizzard business performance."
Something tells me that business model is dying for them.
They are the last giant of the subscriber world because everybody else who tries to do it fails.
And they just go free to play, or they go buy the game and you just have access to it forever.
Yeah, that's what Guild Wars 2 did. There were a few other MMOs that
the Elder Scrolls when it came to console did that, and I feel like they just updated the PC version to just be like that.
Yeah. So, World of Warcraft's 5.5 million subscribers as of September 30th represents a loss of 100,000 subscribers over the past 3 months. This game's subscriber figures now stand at a 9-year low. So, I mean,
it's dropping because, I mean, let's face it, WoW is old.
Well, that is actually a pretty misleading statement. So, WoW has had this thing for a very long time where they never had a steady subscriber rate. At the launch of an expansion, their subscribers shoot through the roof.
Yeah.
And then very soon, they drop down again.
Once everyone does everything that
they want to do, they drop down. And they've come out and said before that the majority of this subscriber drop is from the Asian market because they don't sell subscriptions there. They only sell those little subscription cards like you buy at GameStop.
Oh my god, I remember those.
Yeah, those are the only ones that they sell in that market. So they can very easily just stop playing the game. They're not locked in as much as the United States and the European markets. But regardless, they said that they're not going to report the subscriber numbers anymore because I imagine they're tired of people just saying, "Oh, your game's dying, you have no subscribers."
And the game probably is dying. At this point, how long has WoW been out for? 9 years? Didn't they just
longer
say
than that.
Yeah, it's a little long in the tooth.
It came out in 2001. I want to say 2002, early 2000s.
Even if there was like a huge update that just kind of refreshed everything.
Well, they do have the new expansion coming out. So
what's the new? Oh, they have another expansion coming out.
Yeah. So what happened is now there was another story, a Blizzard story here, but I wasn't going to throw it in because it's not huge. But Blizzard actually upped their dev team to the largest it's ever been for World of Warcraft, and they said they're planning to pump out expansions faster to hopefully avoid this roller coaster of a subscription number they've been experiencing.
I can guarantee you those expansions will now become less special and lesser for that.
Have you ever played WoW? I'm curious.
I played vanilla WoW back in the day. I never played any of the expansions or anything.
Did you?
Yeah. I actually have in my box over there vanilla WoW. I only bought it because it was on an episode of South Park, and I like that episode of South Park. I was like, that game actually looks kind of fun. I want to try it.
It is. I'm a big Blizzard fan. I've played all their games.
All their free to play stuff seems to be where they're lying now because that's what's making them the most money. Like Heroes and Hearthstone
and now Overwatch.
Now
is
Overwatch will probably make them some money because they'll probably start selling hats.
Yeah, but as much as their subscriber numbers dip, WoW is not going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't see WoW not going there. They got a big Hollywood movie coming out.
Yeah, which I'm excited for. The trailer comes out tomorrow, so...
The 15-second teaser is a little CGI heavy.
Yeah, we're not getting into this again.
No, we're not.
Jacob and I had a 25-minute long discussion on the use of CGI in trailers.
Yeah, well, in movies in general. But we were comparing the Star Wars trailer to the Warcraft 15-second teaser.
Yeah. Alright, let's see here. Ooh, this one I think you'll like. It's the first-person adventure Megaton Rainfall coming to PlayStation 4 and PSVR. Now, yep. I gave you a little heart attack with this one because if you remember, we talked about the Gun Media Halloween the 13th. Or
Halloween the 13th?
Yeah, Friday the 13th game. Where we had come up with a similar idea that we were in the process of developing. Well, we have another... We've had another idea. We named this one the big one because this is kind of like we want it to be our a flagship title.
This
for us.
Is going to be the one that puts us on the map.
Yeah, all things working well, of course. But I sent him this trailer of Megaton Rainfall with the description saying first person superhero game.
Now ours isn't first person per se.
Yes,
but just hearing the way Brad texted me it. I was like, oh no.
Which was entirely intentional, by the way. I wanted to give you the biggest heart attack I could.
It's happening again.
So, as inspired by Richard Donner's Superman 1 and 2...
Good movies.
Spanish indie Alfonso de Ceros, Pentadimensional Games is the name of the studio, will transform players into an invincible super being tasked with defending Earth from an alien invasion. So, essentially the entire planet is the battlefield, and you have no health bar.
So you're just literally invincible.
You are literally invincible.
So how do you lose the game then? Is it going to be like how Superman Returns on PS2 was, where if the city took too much damage, you failed?
That is what it is. They want you to avoid going full Man of Steel on the city. So if too many people die or if the city gets too banged up, you're going to lose. That's the idea.
What I want to do, though, is I want to go full Man. I want to grab one of those things out of the air and throw it through a building.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that is not going to be what you're going to do. So... Yeah, it says the player has limit damage and loss of life from alien attacks, or their own devastating powers. So there is friendly fire. If you kill some people with your powers, that's going to drop your total as well.
Much like Superman did in Man of Steel.
Yes. But this game looks kind of cool. I saw the trailer. It looks kind of because it's VR, so VR can't be very intensive right now. But what this story proves to me is that PlayStation VR is coming in 2016, because that is when this game is coming.
I pointed that out to you.
You did point that out to me.
And I also pointed out to you what I think Sony's going to do with their huge marketing plan to really get PlayStation VR out there.
Yes, we've talked about this earlier.
I'm going to explain this now, and if anyone at PlayStation is listening, hire me for your marketing team.
Don't. He's a handful. Don't hire him.
Yeah. My thing is, what I think is now that we know that, at least coming off this, that unless they're just doing a PS4 version and then the VR version is coming later.
Which doesn't make sense because Megaton Rainfall looked very VR
heavy.
intensive.
Yeah. It's coming in 2016, and my thought is that it's probably going to come out in June around the same time as No Man's Sky, and No Man's Sky will maybe be a pack-in title for PlayStation VR, like a bundle that you can get.
Yes, I disagree slightly. I don't think they'll do a bundle, but I do think they'll sell it around the same time.
I think it'll be... If they come out at PSX and announce that the date is coming...
When is PSX?
It's in December in Las Vegas. When PSX happens, which is PlayStation Experience, and they inevitably announce the date for PlayStation VR, and also maybe then you'll get the same more specific date for No Man's Sky, and also the announcement, hey, we are also working with PlayStation VR, and then when the release date for PlayStation VR comes out, it'll be releasing on June blah blah blah, same day as No Man's Sky, and if you buy PlayStation VR, you get a download code for No Man's Sky, and room will erupt and be crazy. Also, you can change your PSN names. Room will erupt even louder.
Well, we can be hopeful. I don't see them going that route, but No Man's Sky doesn't look very intensive. Megaton Rainfall looked cool. You fly Superman style, and I don't see them launching this game without PlayStation VR. So it's pretty conclusive, or... not conclusive, but it's a pretty safe assumption that PlayStation VR is going to be in 2016.
It looks cool. I don't like how it's kind of monochromatic, that game. The city looks great. I don't know if it's just because maybe they're only in, alpha now.
Well, they didn't mention where they are in stages of development. They just said it's coming in 2016. But just based on where the trailer looks in terms of graphics, it looks like they're not very far along, or it's meant to look like that.
Or it's meant to be like an experience sort of thing, where it's just, this is a VR experience for our bigger superhero game that we're doing, and we're just putting this out there.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I might pick it up just because I do plan on picking up PlayStation VR.
Yeah, high five over the table. Me too. Wow, you give the wimpiest high fives.
Well, I didn't want a loud clap on the audio.
I want the loud clap on the... I want people to know that we're friends.
Yeah, well...
You're right, I do hate being around you most of the time.
I don't blame you. Alright, let's see what else we got here. PlayStation Now gets big update full of Capcom favorites.
I hate PlayStation Now, and I hate the concept behind PlayStation Now.
Why?
Because they make you pay to play games that you may already own.
Well, I mean, the idea...
It's just a way of them doing backwards compatibility on their console.
Well, yeah.
But in a worse way than Xbox One did.
Well, it's the only way they can do it, so I don't blame them.
Yeah, I get why they can't do backwards compatibility, because of that stupid cell processor they had on the PS4, and that's mainly the thing that makes it have to be either HD remakes or the streaming thing.
Well, maybe this will turn you around to PlayStation Now, because they're adding more than 100 games to their collection. It's nearly doubling what they have now.
Right.
So the full list of titles, if you want to like the entire list, you can go to PlayStation's blog, and they have the full list there. Capcom has 21 games in total, and it includes the 6 Resident Evil games, including the Resident Evil 4 and the most recent entry, Resident Evil 6. Ultra Street Fighter 4 is also available to stream, as is Mega Man 10 and Dead Rising 2.
Wait, I want to stop right there for just 1 second.
Yes.
Having Ultra Street Fighter 4 for streaming is not optimal for what Street Fighter is for. Because you want it to run at a steady frame rate, and you want to be able to play it with no latency at all, and streaming just can't give you that yet. But also, there's a port of Ultra Street Fighter 4 on PS4, so there's kind of no reason for it to be on. I don't know, can you use PlayStation Now on PS3? Someone write in and let us know.
I don't think you can, but I don't have PlayStation Now, so I don't know.
Yeah, I tried to do a free trial, and they were going to make me put in a credit card, and I was like, no, thank you.
It's $20 a month, correct?
Yeah, I think
PlayStation Now? Similar to the EA Vault thing.
I think, EA Vault, at least, is cheaper. It's $10.
Yeah.
And, you get... you don't get a lot of games, but
this has a lot of games on it. At least now it has a lot of games on it. Some of the other games coming to it are Dragon's Lair, the HD remaster of Oddworld, Stranger's Wrath, and Fatal Fury.
Dragon's Lair?
Yep.
The animated Dragon's Lair, where you have to, pick your... I'm going to assume it's that.
Yeah, that would be the one. It's
I didn't know that came out on PS3 or whatever.
Apparently, because it's on PlayStation Now.
That's another game where I don't want latency, because I don't want my choices to be a little too late, and then I have to watch Dirk the Daring get murdered. They announced a Kickstarter for a Dragon's Lair movie.
Did they?
Well, it's they want to make a trailer that they can pitch to studios, so they need money to make that.
Well, they need money to prove that they need more money to make the movie.
Well, I mean, to make an animated movie, it's very expensive now, especially
Yes.
a hand-drawn animated one, which is what they want to do. They want it to actually
they
look
want
like They want it to actually look like Dragon's Lair. So what they're doing is they're asking for I want to say it's a higher number. I forget the exact number, but
Well, if it's hand-drawn, it's going to be expensive.
yeah. So they just want to make like a 2 to 3 minute trailer just to pitch to studios to be like, here's the kind of tone we want to go for it. I think a Dragon's Lair movie could be pretty cool.
Yeah, why not? Let's see here. Paragon is coming to PC in 2016 from Epic Games.
What's Paragon?
Paragon is the new game from Unreal Tournament and Fortnite developer Epic Games. They did not say anything more than it's coming in 2016, but based on the game's website, it will feature a cast of heroes with names like Twin Blast, Steel, Sparrow, Decker, and Grux.
Why don't Epic Games get a game out first? Because Fortnite's been in development for the longest time.
Yep.
They announced that new Unreal Tournament. Are they doing the new Gears, or is the other studio that they had there doing it?
I think the other studio is doing it, but don't quote me on that.
I'm not sure either. But why don't they get a game out first before they start announcing new games?
This is the third game they've announced, the other two being the Unreal and the Fortnite.
Yeah.
The teaser for Twin Blast, which amounts to a little more than just a look, was released on YouTube, so if you want to take a look at that, just Google Twin Blast on YouTube. And Epic promises to reveal a new hero every week, once a week, through December 3rd.
Right on.
So, I don't know too much about this game. There wasn't a lot of information about it. Apparently, the only thing I do know is that they have special combat abilities based on what players choose to fight for.
It's probably a MOBA.
Glory, pride, fortune, or infamy. If you're interested in signing up for this very little information-based game, you can go to the official website.
It's being developed by... The new Gears is being developed by the Coalition.
The Coalition?
Which all they've made is the Gears of War Ultimate Edition. Oh, that's right. I forgot. They announced... it used to be Black Tusk Studios, who was owned by Microsoft, and then they announced that they're taking over the Gears of War franchise. That's right. I forgot about that. But, yeah.
Well, yeah, if you're interested in this, the new game coming from Epic Games, go to the website. You can sign up for the beta. Take a look at the YouTube teaser for Twin Blast. He looks kind of cool, actually. It's like a... I honestly, I can't describe him. He looks pretty cool. It's like a cowboyish kind of guy.
Interesting. It's either going to be a multiplayer shooter or it's going to be a MOBA, guarantee it.
Yeah, I'm seeing this going either Team Fortress 2 or the other League of Legends kind of.
Yeah.
One of the two. But until
Everyone's making MOBAs now.
Because they're successful.
That's the thing. It's a zeitgeist thing. Eventually there's going to be too many, it's going to die. I guarantee it. Maybe League won't, and maybe Dota won't.
Yeah,
but I could see like Heroes dying. I could see like all these other ones that are out.
Heroes
I could see
is actually
Adventure Time Battle for something or other dying.
I didn't know that was a thing.
It's a Flash game you can play on the Cartoon Network website. It's one of the only MOBAs I played that I understood.
Well, we should pick up Heroes. Actually, it's pretty simple, and it appeals to a different audience than the other MOBAs. So, I mean, I'm enjoying it. But anyway, we don't have any stories about MOBAs. We don't want to talk about MOBAs. Yeah. What we do want to talk about is Fallout 4.
Yeah.
So, alright, I got 2 Fallout 4 stories here. Let's do this one first. We got 5 original songs by Linda Carter, the person who played Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
She was so hot back in the day.
She also stars in the game. She's in Fallout 4, so she didn't just make music for it, she also starred in the game.
Yeah, her husband's like the CEO of Bethesda or something like that, isn't he?
He is ZeniMax Media, which is Bethesda's parent company.
Yeah. Right.
So, let's see. Linda Carter is best known for her Wonder Woman actress in the 1970 television series. Provided voiceover work for a character named Magnolia. Magnolia?
Why does that bother you?
It sounds really familiar for me. I don't know. It's going to bug me until I remember what that's from. But she wrote and performed 5 original songs for the part. And let's see here. You can listen to one of them on SoundCloud. It's called Good Neighbor.
Right. And
apparently they said that the idea behind this was that they wanted it to look like only one song actually. Why are you showing?
Because I'm showing you.
I look up from my news story and I see him showing me a picture of Wonder Woman from the 70s.
Yeah, it's Linda Carter.
It is indeed Linda Carter.
She was really attractive back in the day.
She was.
Not to say that she's not a beautiful woman now.
Yeah, so only in one of these songs do they directly mention the wasteland. The other 4 just sound time appropriate. So they said that was... Can you stop showing me pictures of Linda Carter?
Sorry.
Distracting me from my news. Yeah, so only one of them actually directly references the Wasteland. The other four are meant to sound very time appropriate, and it was actually the point where they wanted it so if she was to go on tour, she could actually implement those songs and nobody would know the difference.
Oh, nice.
That was the feel that they were going for.
I think one, they said in the story, like, directly references the Wasteland.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, it mentions, like, bottle caps and whatnot. So, I don't know, it's pretty cool. Apparently, the character Magnolia sings at a bar, which is a pretty key location in the game. So she's not like a minor character. She's going to be around for a while.
I read a fun story on Twitter about this, at least. It was like a little thing that one of the people I follow on Twitter, his name is Spool. He's in Funhouse.
Yes.
You know Funhouse? I follow him on Twitter, and he tweeted something about how when he used to work at G4, a woman came up to his desk, or he felt someone behind him, and he turned around, and it was Linda Carter. And Linda Carter just like asked him if he knew about Fallout, and he said yes, and then she smiled and walked away. And this was in like 2010 or something like that. So they don't know if it was just like a thing of like at first he thought it was just like her son plays Fallout, and so
well, maybe not. Maybe she was talking about the song she was making for Fallout 4.
Yeah.
But let's see, other Fallout 4 story here. We have Nuka Cola.
Nuka Cola Quantum.
Yeah. Sorry,
Coming serious.
Yeah. I'm not well informed about the Fallout universe, my bad.
Yeah, you should be.
Coming to Target.
Right.
It seems that Bethesda partnered with a company called Jones Soda to make it happen, and it's going to have the same light bluish lightning color that it had in the game.
Right.
And it doesn't seem like this was specially produced for the game. It just looks like it's a repackaged version of a previous soda from that company.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's berry lemonade flavor.
I mean, yeah, you don't really in the game. They don't describe what Nuka Cola Quantum tastes like, so
yeah, so
it could have been anything.
Yeah, they had free reign over that, but it does look like it's from the game.
Yes,
the color is very.
Another fun story about this: my friend Austin works in the back room at Target, in the one in Swansea, from where it's a close place to where we live. He told me he was like. He didn't even know about the story or that we were going to talk about this, but he was just talking about Xbox. Guess what I held in my hand today? And I was like, and because he works at Target, so I just went, let me guess, was it Nuka Cola? He goes, I held Nuka Cola in my hand today.
So, needless to say, I'm going to buy a bunch of these.
I'm going to buy at least one, save at least one of the bottles, and maybe drink the rest of them, and then keep the caps, just for when the world ends.
Yeah. I'm sure that bottle caps are definitely going to be the
well, yeah, or
predominant currency.
Or pre-war money, who knows.
So starting November 10th is when you can pick this stuff up. And
same day Fallout 4 comes out.
Yep. And in the UK, on November 5th, there's a Fallout beer, which is exclusively available in UK. So if you're a UK listener, you have beer. You don't have berry-flavored soda.
I forget where it's coming out to, and I want to say it's probably the UK or Germany or something like that. They're getting a Call of Duty branded beer called Black Hops.
That's kind of funny, actually.
Get it like hops.
Yeah.
That are in the beer.
Yes. Black hops.
Yeah.
Somebody needs give that man a raise.
That was great.
Yeah, but I mean, save up your pennies, buy your Fallout Nuka Quantum.
Save up your pre-war money.
Yeah.
And buy Nuka Cola Quantum.
I feel like a lot of people are just gonna put this in a glass case. As like
I'm gonna save at least one and put it in a glass case. I'm probably gonna put it up there on that shelf where everything else I have is.
Yeah,
I have my cool Stormtrooper cup up there.
Oh,
it's probably behind a picture. I'll show you after the thing.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Oh, we can talk about that Indivisible game now. Skullgirls is releasing a prototype of its RPG, Indivisible, on PlayStation 4. I actually played it. It's really fun. Lab Zero Games, which is a they released Skullgirls as a 2D fighting game.
Skullgirls has a cool art style. I know I say I don't like fighting games or whatever, but Skullgirls has a cool art style and cool character design.
It is. It's really interesting. And I can definitely see the influence from Skullgirls into Indivisible. There's a pretty.
Is it that same sort of art style?
Kind of, but there's a resemblance, but it's not exact.
Right.
So Indivisible is a platformer RPG hybrid based on Southeast Asia and otherworld mythologies.
Oh, cool.
Yep. And the game stars, I cannot pronounce this woman's name, even though I've heard it said to me 100 times.
I'll see. I want to see if I can pronounce it.
Ajna.
I didn't.
Anja?
Where is it? Ajna.
No, I know that's wrong.
Ajna.
And,
Or Agina, maybe?
that might be right, actually. She's described as a good-natured tomboy with a rebellious streak who goes on a globe-spanning journey to discover the truth behind her mysterious powers. On her quest, she'll be joined by a variety of unique heroes and gain the abilities to traverse the environments and defeat enemies they'll encounter along the way. And by her strange power, what they mean is she turns blue.
That's just her power?
She goes like demon mode. She turns blue and grows a third eye. You ever play Ninja Gaiden?
Yes.
When he gets all like light blue demon form?
Yep.
Kind of like that. And then she goes like Tien and grows a third eye.
Super Saiyan.
Yeah, exactly. Lab Zero is seeking $1.5 million in crowdfunding to develop the game, and they are partnered with 505 Games as their publisher. 505 has agreed to give them an additional $2 million if they reach their goal. So they'll have a pretty penny to make this game happen, if they do reach the goal.
505 is like the last of like the mid-tier publishers.
Yeah, 505 isn't like quite Warner Brothers level, and they're not indie, so they're
like
they're
Warner Brothers
weird...
is up. I feel like at the upper echelon level with like Activision, EA, Ubisoft, like, and 505 is probably down here with like your even Bethesda's up there now too. But 505 used to be down there with like your THQs and stuff like that, and then THQ just died. 505 is probably the last of the mid-tier publishers.
Yeah, but
they publish some cool games like Terraria.
Did they publish Terraria?
Yeah, they did.
My brother loves that game. He has like 600 hours in it. It's ridiculous.
I like Terraria.
I could never understand it. I die in the first night
every time. It's just 2D Minecraft.
Yeah, and I suck at Minecraft, so I guess that makes sense.
Probably.
But yeah, it's on. The demo is on PlayStation 4 right now. Go check it out. It's really fun. I recommend it. The only critique I have of the game is the main character kind of sucks.
Oh, cool.
Everybody has a different strength in combat. Like, your archer dude is really good at taking out large amounts of enemies. You have one dude who has he's like a monk turban kind of guy who does really big single target damage. You have one chick who heals really well. Right. And the main character, Anja, or however you pronounce that name, doesn't do anything really well. Ajna.
Ooh, maybe that's it.
Maybe. We're going to keep guessing at this until somebody tells us we're an idiot and it's pronounced.
Or you just go play the game and you find.
I played the game and I still can't pronounce it.
I'll probably go play the game and try it.
But, yeah, she doesn't do anything particularly well. So, that was my only main complaint.
Is there voice acting in it, or is it just, like, text?
I don't play games with sound, so I don't know.
Oh, cool. That's always good to know.
Yeah.
Glad to see you follow storylines.
It depends.
Maybe that's why you don't know how to say Ajna.
That is exactly why I don't know how to say Ajna. But, I don't know. I recommend the game. Go check it out. Let's see here. Mirror's Edge Catalyst is delayed to May 2016.
I was pretty excited about that game.
It's not a huge delay. It was only announced to be set on... oh my god.
It went to May.
Yeah, it went from February 23rd to May 24th. So, a couple month jump. The reason they gave was achieving the vision and delivering the best possible experience is equally inspiring and challenging, and it takes time. That is PR speak for we hit a snag, we need a little extra time.
Or it could very well just be they're polishing up stuff. Like, well, actually, for that much of a delay...
Yeah, you don't delay 3 months because you're polishing.
Like, with The Last of Us, I know they delayed it, like, I want to say a month.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of polish, and the developers at Naughty Dog say a lot of, like, that. Without that month, that game probably would have been a 9 instead of being the 10 that it is.
Yeah, so but with this couple months, they probably hit just a minor snag and just trying to sort that out. So it's not that big of a deal. But there is a little conspiracy here going on. Cause,
at least between us.
Oh, between us and apparently a lot of other people.
Oh, really?
I did a little research on this. But Deus Ex Mankind Divided and Far Cry Primal are both set to arrive on February 23rd.
The only game I could see maybe cannibalizing Mirror's Edge's sales on that front is Deus Ex. Just because it's kind of like that futuristic sort of, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, dystopian world.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Like,
so,
Far Cry is not going to...
I think this Far Cry is going to be more successful than most people think.
I don't see it being... I mean, I could see maybe the hardcore Far Cry people still coming out for it, but...
I'd play it.
I mean, I'll give it a shot.
This one kind of interests me more than any other Far Cry in the series.
Even Blood Dragon?
I didn't really like any of the Far Cry games. I mean, they were all entertaining, they're all fun, but I was never really a huge fan of them. This one seems kind of interesting.
I love 3 and 4. Look at 4 basically is just
4
3
is just
again.
3.
So, that's probably why.
But yeah, the conspiracy is that they bumped the release date because they didn't want to compete with Deus Ex and Far Cry.
That makes sense.
But,
they're all open world games.
Well, no, I disagree with it. Because I think if they were going to do that, they would have bumped it a month. They wouldn't have bumped it 3 months.
Here's the thing, though. They bump it a month to March.
Yeah.
They have to go up against The Division, which is another open world game.
True.
Plus, they also have to go up against Uncharted, which is going to be big for the PlayStation audience. It's just like, there's all these things where like maybe May was just wide open. And the thing is with Mirror's Edge is the first one was very well received by critics, and people who played it really liked it.
Yep.
But it didn't sell well. So, this has been EA being like, all right, you guys want this, put your money where your mouth is. And if they have to come out on a day against like Deus Ex and Far Cry, or even in a month where it's like, or even in a month where it's like, oh, The Division comes out or Uncharted comes out, which do I choose? Do I get Mirror's Edge or do I get those other two?
Yeah.
It's easy to see why they.
I feel like that's more of a movie thing than a than a video game thing.
I feel the same thing because I originally, before I was just like, I'm just gonna buy everything. When it came to Hell Month, I was like, I'm gonna get Fallout, and then I'm gonna decide whether Call of Duty or Star Wars is the thing I get, and then I'll get the other one for like Christmas or something.
Yeah.
But then I've just decided I'm just gonna get all of them, and then cannibalize every game that I own. Probably Fallout being the one that I go back to the most, if I had to guess.
Well, I mean, regardless of their motives, it is bumped back. Not a huge bump, so everything else seems fine.
Yeah.
You'll still get your parkour of the game, because that's all that really is. It's just parkouring across buildings.
You really want to parkour across buildings in first person, you can just play Black Ops 3 in stores tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Activision.
Yeah, not really.
Not really, I wish.
Well, speaking of Activision buys Candy Crush. Or the Candy Crush maker, I should say. They bought King, not Candy Crush.
Every mom's favorite game development studio.
They bought King for $5.9 billion.
That's a stupid amount of money.
That is a B, not an M, a B. Billion.
Didn't somebody buy Zynga for that, like, that high of a money? I think EA bought Zynga, didn't they?
Probably.
I forget. Somebody bought Zynga.
What doesn't EA own at this point?
Zynga, too, made some stupid purchases back in the day where they just bought people just out of like a fluke. Like, remember Draw Something when that was a thing?
Yeah.
Like, and, all we had was, like, one game, and, like, it was, like, the month where Draw Something was the zeitgeist of the world, and Zynga bought the makers of Draw Something for, like, I forget, it was some ridiculous amount. It was something like $5 million or whatever. This whole... And then they made Draw Something 2, and nobody played it.
Yeah, this whole mobile indie, well, not indie, but mobile market seems to be very heavy with the purchasing of other companies. More so than any other market.
Also, King are a bunch of scumbags.
Yeah, King is not very well received.
They'll fit right in at Activision.
Let's see. Activision Blizzard announced November 2nd it will acquire King Digital Entertainment for a $5.9 billion deal. And first they have to go through King's shareholders and the Irish government. But once those are both approved, it is expected to be completed by spring of 2016, says Activision Blizzard.
Is King an Irish game developer?
Yes. They're based out of Ireland.
I didn't know that.
Which I imagine switching from an Irish-based company to an American-based is going to cause some issues, so they have to sort that out.
Are they moving their studios to America?
If it's cheaper on the taxes, probably, but I doubt it is.
Yeah, I could see Irish taxes being more.
A lot of companies do that. Like they'll set up an empty building and call it their HQ to avoid tax implications.
Yeah, or they just have two different locations, maybe two different studios open up. Like Avalanche now, they have their base, their like main studio is in Stockholm, Sweden, but they're like the studio that's making Just Cause 3 is in New York.
Yeah,
or Rockstar's all over the goddamn world.
It's whatever's cheaper. So let's see here. King will continue to operate as an independent unit under CEO Riccardo Zacconi. Chief Creative Officer Sebastian Knutson, and Chief Operating Officer Stephen. Sorry, I'm butchering everybody's name today.
How's it spelled?
It's literally just Stephen. It's not.
Oh, it's not. It's Stevan, and you read it as...
Yeah, it's actually PHN. Stephen.
Oh, yeah.
Kurgan.
Maybe it's Stephen then.
Yeah, Stephen Kurgan. But those three guys are still in charge. That nothing's changing in the leadership of King, in case anybody was worried about that.
Oh yeah. Is anything changing in their copyright? Like, do they finally own the copyright to Candy?
I honestly don't know. As far as I know, Activision Blizzard just wants more money, so they bought King.
I think it's crazy that Activision is technically Activision Blizzard still.
Yep.
Like Blizzard was so big that when Activision bought Blizzard, they just became another part of the company.
Yep, it wasn't absorption, it was a fusion almost.
Yeah. It was like a weird Siamese twin that they built together. It was a company human centipede. Who knows? Maybe soon it'll become Activision Blizzard King.
Yeah. If they buy any more studios, they're going to become the king because there's not going to be any left.
Yeah.
But this purchase has made them into one of the largest entertainment networks in the world, with over 500 million combined monthly active users in 196 different countries. They are literally everywhere.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
They're everywhere. It's insane.
I mean, they can't like buy everybody because then they'd be a monopoly.
Yep. So they're gonna keep the little indie guys alive so they don't, become a monopoly. But I mean, there's enough studios out there that Activision doesn't own everything. So.
And Sierra too. Remember Sierra back in the day? They used to make like adventure games like Leisure Suit Larry.
No, I don't remember them actually.
Oh, really? You don't remember Sierra?
No, I have no
Sierra
idea.
used to make like a lot of games. They used to also be the ones that published like the Crash Bandicoot games. They own Crash Bandicoot.
Do they still own Crash Bandicoot?
Yeah, they own Crash, and they own Spyro too.
I want a new Spyro game, but
you want that? Go back to the vanilla Skylanders.
Yeah, that is a conversation for another time. But we will. I think we can end off the new segment with. I think the first show of every week we'll just list off the games coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox.
I'm gonna talk about Kojima.
Oh, you want to talk about Kojima?
I do want to talk about Kojima.
Okay, well let's talk about Kojima then. So what happened with Kojima is, let me open up this story because I have this saved in a different spot. Look at me not being prepared like I said I was. I'm just all lying today.
Yeah.
Right here. Okay. So, Konami has officially announced that they are closing the LA-based development studio formerly known as Kojima Productions in LA. And they confirmed this to a email to Polygon.
Right.
So they have decided. Konami was quoted as saying, "Konami has made the decision to close its Los Angeles studio effective immediately due to the product development resources being restructured into a more centralized unit. This facility contributed to the recent Metal Gear Solid games. Konami will continue its operations to support all Metal Gear Solid titles. I can't speak today, including the recently launched Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain and Metal Gear Solid Online. Metal Gear Solid Online is still scheduled to release for PC Steam in 2016, January 2016.
I mean, it was an inevitability. Looks like that vacation's maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah, he's if he's on vacation, then he's on a really long vacation. They took his name off everything. They closed the studio,
and then they also announced they were making a new Metal Gear was going into production or something.
Well, they didn't confirm it was another Metal Gear.
They said something about it being like the new high-profile Metal Gear title.
There was an unnamed Konami spokesperson who had talked about when development continues, a large influx of money needs to happen. Right. It was never mentioned what that development was or why they needed such a large sum. But it's being inferred that could very possibly be a Metal Gear Solid 6.
I think there was also I saw a story that literally just said that a new Metal Gear was in development and Kojima's involvement is unknown at the time. Maybe another rumor came out where
it could have been.
It was like some copyright thing went through or something. It's probably just a pachinko machine. Let's be serious.
Yeah. Well, as far as I know, there's Kojima's under a non-disclosure agreement to not say anything that he might be working on.
Can't wait till that's up.
Yeah, and it ends in December, so.
That's going to be fun. I can't wait to hear. If he's not going back to Konami and he's not making another Metal Gear, I can't wait to hear that story.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of...
there.
Oh, something I forgot to mention from that Indivisible game. There's a lot of cameos from other games.
Like?
There is Annie from Skullgirls. There's,
Well, that makes sense.
the Drifter from Hyper Light Drifter. Juan from Guacamelee.
Oh.
Shovel Knight from Shovel Knight.
Oh.
Zachosaurus from Super Time Ultra Force.
Super Time Force Ultra.
Force Ultra. I don't know why I flipped those around. I'm doing that a lot today.
Yeah.
It's a bad day for speaking for me.
Super Time Force Ultra is just it's like the PS4 version basically of Super Time Force.
And Calibretto from Battle Chasers.
I don't know what that game is.
And Leah from Curses and Chaos.
Don't know what that is either.
Forgot to mention that. But yeah. They closed Konami. Indivisible has like 27 different characters. I think it's actually 25 characters.
Right. Why do you have the iTunes logo in your...
Oh, that's for a college assignment. I have to write a annotation on podcasting.
Oh, hey, look at that.
Yeah, it's almost like I got the idea from the show.
Oh. I didn't know we do a podcast.
It's news to me. Yeah, that's about all we have for news. So I'll just I'll talk about the games you can get on PlayStation Plus and Games with Gold this month.
Right.
So for PlayStation Plus, the lineup is The Walking Dead Season 2 on PlayStation 4, Magicka 2 on PlayStation 4, Mass Effect 2 on PlayStation 3, Beyond Good and Evil for PlayStation 3.
It's the HD remake of Beyond Good and Evil.
Yes. Dragon Fin Soup for PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, with PlayStation 3 cross-buy is available. And
Vita cross-buy for Dragon Fin Soup. Did you say that?
I didn't know Dragon Fin Soup had Vita cross-buy.
It's coming to Vita later, but it's going to be cross-buy once it comes to Vita. I think it's in a couple weeks they said, or something like that.
I have that downloaded on my system, but I haven't tried it out yet.
I don't play it yet.
And Invisimals for PlayStation Vita.
It's just a PSP game. I think that's downloadable on Vita.
Because
when I looked up Invisimals, it came up as a PSP game.
You are the resident expert on Vita games, so if you don't know it, then nobody knows it. Let's see. For Games with Gold, we have the new Breath of Life game. We have Night Squad for the second half of the month.
Right.
For 360, we have Dirt 3, and for the second half of the month, you have Dungeon Siege 3.
And right now, for the first half of the month, you can still get Walking Dead Season 1.
Yes. And for, I believe it's not for the first half of the month, but for the second half of the month, once backwards compatibility launches for the Xbox market.
Dirt 3 and Dungeon Siege 3 will be able to.
Yes.
Because it comes out on the 12th, so that's before Dirt 3 is up as your Games with Gold title. So even if you download Dirt 3 anyway, you'll still have it.
So if you download your 360 free games on your 360, they will be available for download on your One. So,
yeah, it'll show up where your list of install stuff is in your games and apps folder.
Like I downloaded Dirt 3, and if I go on my Xbox One under my little apps and games thing,
Dirt 3 will pop up and you'll be able to download it and play it through your thing. It'll boot it up as a 360 on your Xbox One.
If you weren't going to buy a external hard drive for your Xbox One, you definitely will now, because you're now getting 4 games a month for that system.
That's crazy.
It's a lot of games. But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
I'm excited when more bigger games become Games with Gold. Like, what if next month, how crazy would it be if just, like, Burnout Paradise Games with Gold? I'd lose my mind.
It's possible, but I already own Burnout Paradise, so it's fine.
Yeah, but you don't own it on 360 or Xbox One.
How many systems do I need it on?
You just need it on every system. You need to own that. Everyone needs to own that game at least 4 times.
Okay, at least 4 times.
At least 4 times.
On that note, I think we should transition into our next segment.
And our next segment is something that we call the Weekly Issue. Welcome to the Weekly Issue. It's the part of the show where we talk about whatever flights of fancy we may have that week. And Brad, what's your thing you want to talk about this week?
Alright, so for this week I wanted to talk about crowdfunding. As a practice, as a philosophy, whatever you want to call it. And just because we had a couple of crowdfunding stories in the show this week, and there are some real crowdfunding stories that bug the hell out of me.
Go on.
Alright. So the one that really bugs the hell out of me is
Friday the 13th.
No, I'm okay with that one. That one's fine.
621,663 8 days to go. They went up 1,000.
You are checking this religiously.
I check it every day.
It's like your morning ritual. But the Kickstarter fund, or the crowdfunding fund that bugs me, is the Shenmue one.
Why?
Because that, to me, for those of you who don't know, let me explain what the Shenmue one was. Essentially, they went on stage at the conference. Sony conference.
At E3.
At E3 and said, do you want a new Shenmue game? And everybody, of course, went yes, because the Shenmue fans are very dedicated fans.
Right.
And they said, okay, you want a new Shenmue game? Then you gotta go pay for it. And all they did was they put the Kickstarter on the screen. And, of course, it got a bunch of money, because everybody wants a new Shenmue. But to me, the way they did that makes it feel like a cop-out. And what I mean by that is, it seems like they only wanted to make the game if they knew it would make money. And that, to me, seems like the wrong reason to make a game.
Here's the thing with that, and I'll explain to you why I don't have a problem with Kickstarter and that particular one in general, and also, like, Ukulele or something like that. With Kickstarter, a lot of times game developers go to it because they want to know that there will be an audience for it. And a lot of times it's easier to pitch it to a publisher if they say, well, look at all this money we got on Kickstarter. Clearly people want this game. So they can get extra funding that way or whatever.
Yeah, it's what Indivisible is doing with 505.
Right. So, with Shenmue, and the reason why Shenmue didn't happen for years is because, like, the first 2 Shenmues, they have their built-in audience, but they didn't sell gangbusters, obviously. So, with all the money that it takes to make a Shenmue game, like Sega, who used to own the Shenmue franchise, I think now it's just out there. I don't know. At least how it's working. I think Sony is publishing Shenmue 3 anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what's going on with that. But at least back in the day when it was at Sega, Sega probably looked at it and was like, we're spending all this money on Shenmue and it's not selling like crazy, so why put all the money into a new Shenmue game? So for years, Shenmue was just kind of sat in limbo or whatever. Because they have like a cliffhanger at the end of 2 or something like that.
Yeah, I haven't played the first 2 Shenmues,
Yeah,
but I heard it ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I haven't heard it yet, but I've heard from all my friends who are rabid Shenmue fans that when this was announced, they went crazy. They backed the Kickstarter and all that,
throwing money at their screens.
Yeah. So with this, I feel like it was mainly a thing to show Sony, hey Sony, look, people want a new Shenmue, give us some extra, because I think Sony was giving them extra funding anyway.
Yeah, they were, but they're not.
And the same thing with Yooka-Laylee. Like, say what you will about 3D platformers. Like, me and you, Brad, we love 3D platformers.
We do.
But they're a dead genre of game in 2015.
They've seen their heyday. I think the only one who still exists is Super Mario Galaxy, which is a very fun game. I love Super Mario
or they
Galaxy.
did that Mario 3D World and Land on DS or whatever.
Yeah, so they're here and there.
They're here and there, but, like, as a mass general appeal, they don't really appeal anymore. They appeal to the Nintendo people because they like Mario and they like the 3D Marios. So with Yooka-Laylee, it was like people may want a new Banjo-Kazooie, but maybe there's not enough,
There's not enough to justify making it.
Exactly. But if we go to Kickstarter and we make our goal, then we can make it because we know that there's going to be an audience of people that want it. And now regular people are hearing about this game. They're like, oh, I used to like Banjo-Kazooie. This sounds fun. I'll play it. So that sort of thing. So I get why games like Shenmue 3 and why Yooka-Laylee go to Kickstarter.
Well, I feel like those are 2 different examples because Yooka-Laylee they were just the team of people who worked on Banjo-Kazooie. They know they can't make a third one, so I'm not counting nuts and bolts. But they can't make another Banjo-Kazooie game, so they break off and they make their own thing.
But see, like, here's the thing is like...
But with Shenmue, that's not what happened. It's just like... There hasn't been a Shenmue game in a really long time.
I mean, they're off on their own, it seems like. They don't have, like, Sega backing them anymore. And
but they're not hurting for money. There was more than enough money to make that Shenmue game without that Kickstarter. Right. It just, to me, seemed like they didn't want to do it unless they knew they were going to make a profit off of it.
I think they just wanted to prove that there was demand for it. That's the thing. A lot of times with, like, a Kickstarter, it's just a proof of demand thing, or it's a thing that they don't want to go through publishers. Clearly, they're going through a publisher, though, because Sony's involved. But the thing is, maybe Sony was like... All right, prove to us that people want a Shenmue 3, and we'll give you the funding that you need.
They could have done that on Twitter. Would have did the same exact thing. They didn't.
I mean,
they knew.
Yeah, but let's be serious though. With the Twitter thing, like anyone can go on Twitter and be like, "Yeah, I want a new thing." Like I could be like, "Yeah, I really want a Back to the Future 4."
It's what they did with the
But
movie.
if Back to the Future 4 came out and it wasn't good, I wouldn't go see Back to the Future 4. But like, if I have money invested in this and I'm like, "Yes, I'm excited for Back to the Future 4." Then I would go see Back to the Future.
Well, I'm just using that as an example. Because you already had money invested in it. That's what that Kickstarter gets you. That's
the thing of it's people putting their money where their mouth is. Even like the thing I was talking about earlier with Mirror's Edge. Like everyone kept saying, "Oh, I wish EA would make a new Mirror's Edge. Mirror's Edge was really good." If Mirror's Edge Catalyst comes out and doesn't sell, then EA is just gonna be like, "What happened, guys? You all wanted this new Mirror's Edge." And it didn't sell again.
But Mirror's Edge is taking that risk. Well, no, they did have a Kickstarter fund, so I can't even say that.
Mirror's Edge didn't have a Kickstarter?
The Catalyst?
No.
I'm like...
It didn't.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they just announced it at an E3 one year.
Alright, well, I was almost like... I was really positive that it had one, but I guess not. But, okay, that just kind of... They took that risk. They said, okay, we know that they want one, so we're going to make one.
I feel like they just want... The thing with the Shenmue thing is they just want built-in proof that people... want Shenmue 3 and showing that there's this interest enough for people to put their own money into it and say, I really want this game. It gives Sony more of a ground to stand on to be like, I want this new Shenmue game. I feel like you're looking at it a very black and white thing and you're putting more into it than really is probably in it.
Well, I don't like the aspect that they want financial proof that there's a backing to this game. Take the Deadpool movie, for example. Before that was ever a thing, there was a thing going on where, like, retweet, favorite, blah blah blah, if you want a Deadpool movie, and that got a huge following, and it got noticed, and now there's a Deadpool movie coming out.
Yeah, but like I said, we'll see with that. We'll see if fans actually turn up to see the Deadpool movie.
I'm certain they will.
That's a different thing because it's like a big comic book movie.
Yeah, but still.
But here's the thing, though. With stuff like that, a lot of fans can talk up a big game and be like, yeah, we want this thing. We want our R-rated Deadpool movie. We want our new Mirror's Edge, whatever it is. We want Shenmue 3. But then Shenmue 3 could just, or any of those things could just come out and just flop. Right on their face.
So let me see if I understand what you're... Like, it's to get a larger audience attracted to it, right? I don't think that a Kickstarter is going to do that.
I feel like with a Kickstarter out there, it just gets the name out there to more people, too. And it's like the kind of thing, like, maybe even let's say, like, Sony wasn't gonna, like, maybe Sony only was guaranteeing to fund them if they could get this Kickstarter fund. So maybe they didn't have any money. Maybe they were just like, Sony was just like, if you can get on Kickstarter and you can make your goal, we'll give you the money you need to make the game, but we just want to know that, you know, people actually want this game and that people actually are going to support Shenmue 3, and then the Kickstarter came out and did gangbusters, so clearly they're going to get their money from Sony.
Yeah. I mean, Indivisible did the same thing where, you know, they reached their Kickstarter goal, then 505 gives them an additional $2 million.
Exactly.
And I have a slight problem with that as well, but, I mean, maybe it's just because it was on a smaller scale that I don't have such a big problem with it, where Shenmue was on an E3 stage, and they said, go fund our Kickstarter. Like, that bugs me. It's
the same thing with, like Friday the 13th, when they announced the Kickstarter. I thought that was weird, because it's Friday the 13th. It's a franchise that will clearly sell. To somebody, it'll sell.
Well, but that's different than...
But, like, I get where they're coming from with it, because they explain, like, they just don't want to go through the whole publisher rigmarole of, you can't have this nudity, you can't have this violence. Those are things that are very important to Friday the 13th, at least as a franchise.
Yeah.
So you need that sort of stuff in there. With Shenmue, it's probably the different side of the coin where they were just like, you know, there's proven history where 2 Shenmue games came out and failed financially. Financially, I mean. They have a fan base, but financially they maybe they did make...
I wouldn't call them a failure. They were never, you know, number one selling in their category. But they were never...
Right. So maybe, like the game would come out and maybe it made a little bit of profit, but it wasn't profit enough to be like, all right, let's keep this franchise going. So there's... And, you know, it's been how many years since Shenmue 2? Like, Shenmue 2 was on the original Xbox, so it was probably, like, somewhere like 03, 04, something like that. And, you know, it's been all these years... It's been 10-plus years since the last Shenmue game. So nobody knows what Shenmue really is, at least in the general public. Like, Shenmue fans obviously know what Shenmue is, and they're excited for Shenmue 3.
I feel like if that were the case, then someone like Banjo-Kazooie, who was even later than...
Well, I mean, they had a 360 title, and people, you know, you always... N64 is more fresh in our mind, I feel like. We always think back to the N64. The Dreamcast, it has its fans, and it has its dedicated audience of people who liked the Dreamcast. I like the Dreamcast. But the Dreamcast... as a system was a failure at the time. That's why Sega doesn't make consoles anymore. So it's all these things where just all these dominoes had to line up, and if one of them, say, like, it went in a perfect, you know, row, say Sega kept making consoles, Shenmue sold great, because I'm sure the first Shenmue sold well because it was on a Dreamcast, and probably everyone who owned a Dreamcast bought it because there wasn't a lot coming out for the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
But, like, Shenmue 2 on Xbox probably didn't sell as well because there was a lot of games coming out, at least at the time, and it goes to a niche audience, and it's a sequel to a game that maybe a lot of people on the Xbox didn't play.
I'm curious what happened that they, well, clearly didn't do well enough that they didn't immediately make a third one. So something happened that they didn't make this third one.
Either it came out and failed, or it came out and just didn't make the kind of money they needed it to.
Or there was a problem with the developers, and it got dropped, and there could be 1,000 things that went wrong with that. But the whole, I feel like this is almost becoming its own market now, where the Indiegogo, Kickstarter funds are their own genre of thing at this point, and I don't like that. I feel like that's not something we should be embracing.
I like that Kickstarter allows people who maybe, say, have a niche idea for a game, that maybe a publisher that's, like, you know, even, like, up here or even in the middle, maybe doesn't want to support because they don't know if it's going to go. Well, like, the thing is, like, Skullgirls. Skullgirls was a Kickstarter game, too, that they did.
Yes.
There was no, like for fighting games, like, It's very hard to get into that market. Like there's the two big franchises, which is three big franchises.
You have the Street Fighters, you have the Tekkens,
and you have Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to get into that space and to actually get a community going around your game unless your game is like killer.
Yeah.
So with a Kickstarter, it's a nice way to get your name out there and show off what you want to do with your fighting game with your game.
The Kickstarter, yeah, I agree that it helps with getting your name out there, but that's for like if we wanted to make a game. We're two guys sitting at a dinner table programming a game. That's what Kickstarter is meant to do. Where there's no way in God's name we're going to get a publisher to back us. So we need that extra support. Guys like the Shenmue games, they don't need that support. So they shouldn't be using that resource.
Maybe Shenmue very well could need this. Like, I know you're saying to yourself and like maybe to you, you're like, Shenmue as a franchise, it doesn't need the support. Shenmue could very well behind the scenes need the support. Like, I mean, think about how many people they probably went to with Shenmue 3. Like, back in the day, even. Like, they probably went to so many people, and then
because I don't know about that, I can't
exactly.
assume that.
Like, you see it from that forward front, and you're like, this is a franchise. People know this one. It doesn't need the money on Kickstarter. Like,
especially with Sony backing them. That's where... And I know Sony had set certain conditions for their backing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like... we don't really know. Forward-facing, it seems like, Sony's backing them. They don't need the money. But they could very well have needed that money, and they could very well have needed to show Sony that this is a franchise that could still go on and is still viable in 2015. Help us make this really cool game. Like, if it was like something like a big... Like, if like that Final Fantasy VII remake went on Kickstarter,
yeah,
that's maybe a little something. Because, like, Square Enix literally doesn't need the money. They have... plenty of Final Fantasy games that come out and do gangbusters. Yeah, they literally don't need the money.
They have the MMO one now. They have the Type 0 that came out. They have a bunch of ones.
They have 15s coming, and like they
so they're rolling in cash.
But the thing is, this it's probably a small studio working on Shenmue 3 at least. I doubt he has like a 200 people studio.
I would disagree with that. I think it's a larger studio than...
It's probably a larger studio than most Kickstarters, but I'm saying, like, it's probably not the thing where, like, with, like, Rockstar, when they make their open world games, they have, like, this studio of, like, 200 to 300 people who are all working on this game. Then they have multiple different studios that are working on it, too, so they have all these other people. It's probably, like, a smaller, like, 50-person studio at the most working on Shenmue 3, if I had to guess.
That... I don't think I'm ever going to understand the... Kickstarter alone is something I don't entirely understand, but... I feel like this is something I'm just never going to...
I get it for certain things, but...
Like, there are examples that I do understand. Like, the Friday the 13th one I understand because they literally cannot go through a publisher. No publisher in the world is going to back them because they want to stick true to the franchise. Yeah. They can't do that in normal video game standards.
Right.
So they have to have the extra support from Kickstarter. That I get. The Banjo-Kazooie ukulele one, I understand because they need to... They're making a new... It's a small team of people who worked on the original who are making a new thing.
See, here's the thing, though, is, like, I feel like with that, you could pitch to someone like, we used to work at Rare. We made these great platformers. Let us make a new one. But the thing is, I feel like publishers are looking at it and being like, 3D platformers don't work anymore in 2015 unless you're Mario.
That's why they're going to Kickstarter. So
that's
I
the thing
get
with,
that.
with Shenmue.
But, no, I think Shenmue's a little bit different.
No, see, you say that because you, to yourself... You see Shenmue as something different than...
Yeah, maybe I am being closed-minded. I don't know. But...
Like, with Shenmue, though, like, it's not a huge franchise. It's huge to its fan base. But, I guarantee you if I walked out on the street and said to someone, what's Shenmue? They'd be like, I don't know, that sounds like some weird Japanese dating simulator or something like that. But if I go out to someone and say, like, what's Banjo-Kazooie? They're more than likely able to say... what it is.
Well, clearly they thought it was a big enough thing that they had announced it at E3, so it's not like it's some title nobody's heard of, so it's bigger than...
I mean, it's the thing of, I feel like, they probably went to everybody, they went to Sony. Sony was the one who was like, we'll do it with you and we'll help you with this Kickstarter, but if this Kickstarter fails, we're not going to back you on it. If it works and it goes through, we'll back you on it, we'll give you the money you need to make Shenmue 3. Because as of them, they probably looked at the sales figures. Like, the first one probably did good, and the second one probably did less, or maybe, profited, but it wasn't the, gangbusters that they need to show that this franchise can go on, and it's been a while, so I feel like they just needed that little, like, reassurance.
Well, let's look at that from Sony's perspective then. They're saying, okay, well, if we know this is successful, we'll back you, right?
Yeah.
But they clearly thought it was successful enough that they took a spot of their own conference at E3.
It was like a 10-second spot of their conference.
But it was a spot that they could have put something else in.
What else would they have put there? Let's be serious.
I don't know.
And a more extended demo of No Man's Sky, a game that we already know and is a known quantity and people are excited for.
But they thought that they would make more money off putting a Shenmue in there than if they put anything else in there. So
because it's their own thing. That's a thing.
So I don't know.
Like, to them, they're just like, let's talk about this and get it out there, and then we'll see how the fans react. Clearly, the fans would probably react well to it.
Well,
but they just wanted that little bit of reassurance. It's the kind of thing where, like, this is probably a wicked bad example, but I'm just trying to think of it. Like, let's say, like, you know, you're gonna jump off like a cliff dive into water or something like that, right? Let's say you're on vacation, cliff dive into water. The reassurance, like, to you, it's just like, oh, that's death right there. But the water's deep enough you could jump in and have fun.
You want to see someone jump in first, so you
yeah,
know you're
exactly.
not
So
die.
you have that reassurance. The thing is with the Kickstarter, it was that person jumping first for them, and they were like, all right, now we know that this could be a thing and it could be huge, and we're really excited about it. They just needed something, I feel like, to get really excited about it. And your whole thing of they have the money, they probably didn't have the money. Like, you say, I understand where you're coming from with it. I get it. If something like a Grand Theft Auto went on Kickstarter, that's a little much. But, like, Shenmue is not the household name that I feel like you may think it is because of the group of people you may talk to or something like that who are really excited about Shenmue. Or, like, you know, like the forums you go to online.
Maybe I'm blowing this out of proportion. I don't know.
That's what I feel like the way it's coming with it from you. Not to say that your opinion is invalid or anything, but I feel like your perspective on it is a little warped.
That's possible. I'm willing to admit to that. That is very possible. But I don't know. I feel like this. I think the issue with the Shenmue Kickstarter thing is just an issue I have with the larger prospect of like the indie market, which is a whole other show. So I don't want to get into that. But okay, maybe the Kickstarter wasn't as bad as I'd originally thought, but I still have a slight problem with it. I'm still not a huge fan of the Kickstarters in general.
Well, I mean, it's even like the kind of thing too, where like what's that guy's name? The guy who made Mega Man. Itagaki.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. He's making
Inafune.
He's making a new game.
Yeah, he's making Mighty 909, which basically is just Mega Man.
Yes.
So, like, he could go to another studio and pitch them Mighty Number 9, but maybe they were like...
Okay, that's a bad example, because there's no way in God's name, if he pitches that to another studio, they're not going to pick it up. They know how successful Mega Man is.
That's the thing, is maybe he went to Kickstarter because nobody would take... Like, the thing is, like, a 2D Mega Man anymore, that's probably why Capcom doesn't make 2D Mega Mans anymore, because they weren't making the money that they needed them to make. Like, 9 and 10...
they stopped making because he stopped wanting to make Mega Man.
He kept wanting to make Mega Man. Like, he was making a different Mega Man game, and then, like, Capcom just canceled it, and then he just left Capcom.
Capcom's not doing very well as a company.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is with that, too. But, so he went to Kickstarter with Mighty Number 9, because maybe other studios wouldn't fund him or something. And then Itagaki wanted to make another Castlevania. Konami, being Konami, wasn't going to make a new 2D Castlevania. So he was like, alright, I'll go to Kickstarter with Bloodstained.
Well, they're too busy with pachinko machines.
Exactly. They're probably making the Castlevania pachinko machine. They're like, we don't have enough time to make a new Castlevania. So he went to a Kickstarter with Bloodstained, which is just basically another Castlevania game. I
feel like if I knew that Kickstarter wasn't their first go-to, then I feel like I'd be more reassured about this. But I don't know that.
A lot of studios that are like bigger studios that go to it are a little more forward facing on it with that stuff. Maybe Japanese studios are just different and with their customs. Like Double Fine, they're a studio that makes a lot of games. They made like Psychonauts and Brutal Legend.
Brutal Legend is a good game.
Brutal Legend is a good game. But here's the thing: is their games notoriously do not sell. No. Psychonauts didn't sell. Brutal Legend didn't sell. And back in the day, I think he's the head of that studio. He's a very big person in that studio, Tim Schafer.
Yeah.
He used to work at LucasArts back when they didn't only make Star Wars games, and they made like Secret of Monkey Island and stuff like that. And Grim Fandango. And he wanted to make a new adventure game.
Yeah.
And, adventure games, I mean, now it's a little different because, like, Walking Dead came out and sold amazing. Like, all the Telltale ones sell good. But, like, old school style adventure games usually don't sell very well. But, so he went to Kickstarter to make his adventure game because nobody would give him funding for his adventure game. And so... And, like, he literally, like, in all interviews was like, I tried to pitch this game to different studios and nobody would make it with me, so I just decided to go to Kickstarter.
Yeah, that's the reassurance that I want. Is I want to know that you didn't just jump straight to Kickstarter without trying to hit a publisher.
Yeah.
Which almost nobody will talk about, so... I tried looking to see if, some of those big titles had tried to hit publishers before, and the only ones I know for a fact that didn't get picked up by a publisher were the Ukulele, because they couldn't.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Shenmue didn't try to approach anybody other than Sony. I'm pretty sure Sony's the only one they talked to.
I mean, I don't know. We'll never really know with that sort of thing. It's the kind of thing where I feel like Japanese studios aren't very forward-facing.
I think this is a give and take. If you want my financial insurance that I'll buy your game, give me physical assurance that you didn't just jump straight to Kickstarter. And then I'll be fine.
I mean, this show is going to go on Kickstarter.
This show is not going on Kickstarter.
What if we did put it on Kickstarter? What would we even Kickstart for?
We have like 4 listeners. Who's going to support us?
That's the thing is, maybe people find it through Kickstarter and they like it. It's that reassurance that we need.
Yeah. We have 4 listeners, 2 of them are us.
Maybe we could Kickstart for like nicer microphones.
No.
And a set.
What, you want a sound box?
What, you mean like a...
I forget the name.
Soundboard.
No, not a soundboard.
It's a soundboard with the knobs and everything.
Is that called? It's not called soundboard.
It's called a soundboard.
Okay, when I think of soundboard, I think of a literal board.
Oh, you mean like a sound effect board?
Yeah, that's what I think of when I think of soundboard.
They're called something anyway.
Yeah, I should know that.
I mean, yes, I would love that. Obviously, that would be the thing I want. Like nice, like studio quality microphones, a nice knob switch.
Wait, you don't like the snowball we have sitting in the middle of the table with 2 pop filters stuck on it?
It works for now, but I'm saying eventually one day I want nicer quality microphones at some point, and who knows, maybe in the future Kickstarter would be a way to go for us.
You're gonna have to fight tooth and nail for that with me, because I'm not a huge fan of Kickstarter. But that is a discussion for another time. I think it's time for the spiel.
The spiel. You think it's ready to... Brad, take me home.
I think I'm gonna make a separate sound clips distinctly for the spiel.
Just for the spiel?
Yeah, I'm gonna work on that.
Yeah.
Alright, so if you want to get...
Oh, wait. Before the spiel.
Don't interrupt my spiel, man.
Star Wars Minute. Did you see the new posters?
Oh, yeah.
The character posters?
I did. A lot of them I don't like.
Really? Like which ones?
Leia's I didn't like.
I don't like the Leia one either.
Because she looks like she's from some sci-fi TV show.
Like a sci-fi original movie.
Yeah. That one looked kind of weird. And I didn't like the whole where every single one of them was covering half their face.
I liked it stylistically. I didn't like that Leia's was different from that. That's the thing.
Yeah, hers was like there was all like something in the middle of the poster cutting their face in half.
John Boyega's was like he had the blue lightsaber.
Yeah.
Kylo Ren was the red lightsaber. Rey had the staff thing she has.
Yep. And Han Solo
had his blaster. But hers was just like, here's my whole head with some green around it.
Yeah. But, I mean, and I heard a bunch of people complaining about, like, the Han Solo nose. I'm like, that's how Harrison Ford's nose actually is. Like,
yeah, what do you want them to physically tweak his nose?
He has a crook. He broke his nose at some point in his life, and it's crooked. Like, that's not post-editing.
I mean, it was probably somewhere after Star Wars, I would guess, because I don't remember in the original trilogy him having a crooked nose.
To be honest with you, I didn't pay too much attention to it.
Yeah, no,
so I don't know.
I mean, whenever I watch him, I'm just like, wow, Harrison Ford's such a dreamy man.
He's a rather good-looking man.
Yeah, for his age.
Yeah, he's a
good-looking man for his age. He doesn't look too old. Like, his hair, like, he's got that salt and pepper hair going on now.
Yeah.
But, like, he doesn't look too old.
Yeah, especially the filming of the original series, he was a good-looking guy.
Good-looking guy.
But,
Indiana Jones, good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Old. Oh, man, they made him look really bad, I feel like, for Indy 4.
Which one was Indy 4?
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
That's actually the only one I've seen. So.
Oh, my God. What the hell, Brad?
You know what? I don't watch movies. Don't.
I know, but I'm saying of all the Indiana Jones you could see, you probably have heard that. Oh, Raiders of the Lost Ark is the best one. Oh, really? And the worst one is Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I'm gonna watch Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
I didn't go into it knowing that. What happened was it was like 3:00 in the morning. I flipped on the TV. I'm like, oh, I don't know what this is, but I'll watch it. I'm like, oh, it's one of those Indiana Jones movies. I'll watch it. Why not? I found out a week later that's considerably the worst one.
Did you like it when you watched it?
It was fine. It was. It's
I feel like maybe because you don't have the attachment to the characters. Maybe.
It was 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was writing a paper. I just wanted something to background noise.
Yeah.
And some weird alien crystal skull thing is fine by me. Whatever. It makes no difference.
I feel like just because you don't have those attachments to those characters, maybe that's why you didn't mind it as much.
Yeah, probably.
That and you probably weren't paying that much attention to it.
Not really.
Do you just not like movies because you have to sit back and watch them, or do you like having being an active participant in something?
Well, I don't like movie theaters for a different reason.
Well, yeah, you don't like people.
No.
In movie theaters. I don't like people in movie theaters.
People in movie theaters are fine. Whatever. They occasionally be noisy. I fall asleep in movie theaters. Is what happens.
Oh, Jesus.
I can't help it. I don't know what it is, but even if they put like the uncomfortable chairs, at some point
You
I
and
will
my
fall.
mom both.
I will fall asleep for at least 15 minutes in every movie I've ever seen. I think the exception to that is the first Avengers movie. I don't think I fell asleep in the first one.
The one time I ever saw a movie with my mom where she didn't fall asleep was surprising. We went to go see the Entourage movie at the Dartmouth movie theaters. I have the recliners. She didn't fall asleep. She sat back in the recliner, went back, and she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna fall asleep," because she falls asleep in every movie we've ever gone to see.
Yep, it happens.
And even in the worst chairs, we used to go to this dollar movie theater where it was all movies that were out of theaters for a long time. You could go see them for $1 or $3, something like that. I forget how much it is.
Yeah.
The worst seats possible because it's a dollar movie theater. And she falls asleep without fail every time.
It makes for such awkward conversation because you'll be leaving the movie theater like, "How was the movie?" "Oh, it was pretty good." "Oh, did you like this part?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, it was great." I don't remember that part.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But why don't you like movies at home, man?
Look, I don't know. It feels like a commitment to me. I have to sit down for 2 hours and watch something.
It's 2 hours at the most, unless you're watching a really long movie.
Because I like to multitask when I do things, and you can't multitask while watching a movie. You miss the experience.
Multitask while watching a movie all the time, unless it's in a movie theater. If I'm at home and I'm
what's-
watching a movie,
a movie you've never seen.
Yeah, even sometimes I do that.
I don't know. I can't.
I can pay attention and pick up on things. Unless I hear from someone "Oh, did you see that?" Then I'll look up or whatever. But most of the time, if I can just kind of listen to a movie and get sort of the thing, maybe I'll go on my phone, on Twitter or something like that. Just sometimes. Most of the time, I'm paying attention to that movie, but I can multitask and do different stuff or work on this show or something like that. I've done that before. Where I had to edit the show.
Yeah.
And I was watching a show or something or a movie. I forget what. But
No, movies aren't my thing.
I don't get how you can just be a human being and not like movies.
I get this.
It's one time I was talking to a girl and she was like, "I don't like movies." I was like,
"You should introduce me. I think her and I would get along pretty well."
yeah. I just don't get how you could just not like movies. How you could just be not into movies at all.
I hear that 24/7. It's like, "Oh, how do you not like movies? Movies are great."
Movies are just like video games. You don't have to do anything.
That's worse to me.
Yeah, that's why I asked you. Do you like to just be an active participant?
Well, kind of, but it not I can't even say that because there are things that I watch that aren't movies, and I have no problem with those. I'll watch a cartoon every now and again, and I like that. That's fine. I just started watching King of the Hill, actually.
Oh, good show.
It is. I'd seen it a couple times when I was a kid, but I didn't like it because kids don't like it.
Yeah, King of the Hill.
Yeah, it's King of the Hill. So I started watching it again.
King of the Hill's a very adult show.
It is. So I started watching that, and I like that, and I got no problem with that. It's just something about movies that just I don't...
I feel like you just maybe have only seen shitty movies other than Star Wars or
I've seen
Lord of the Rings.
I've seen all this. I haven't seen any of the Lord of the Rings.
I thought you did. I thought you
No.
change your answer every time.
The books.
Oh, that's what it is.
I remember
read
you
the first two
scolded me for 20 minutes for reading the books but not watching the movies.
Yeah. All right. Well, I feel other than Star Wars or maybe some of the other movies you've seen, you've only seen bad movies, and you just need to sit down and just maybe have an education in some movies.
I mean, I've seen...
Maybe you'll get more of appreciation for it.
I've seen...
I feel too, from what you've told me about your household, how everyone in your house games, maybe you just weren't in a house that just...
Oh no, my dad has so many damn movies. It's
really? Then I don't get what is wrong with you.
I have a medium-sized bookcase just full of movies.
Why don't you ever just one day just pick out one and watch it?
I could.
One that you've heard that's good and just be like...
Yeah, I own all of the Matrix movies. I haven't seen any of those.
You only watched the first one.
Pretty sure I own. He owns Titanic. I haven't seen Titanic.
Don't watch Titanic.
It's
too long and it's just a love story.
Titanic. And
you know how it's gonna end.
And Avatar, the other one, everyone says is great, but I've never seen that.
Avatar's all right. Avatar is a real movie theater movie. It's the kind of thing where you have to watch at a movie theater and in 3D in order to really get the full experience.
Yeah.
It's the one time I'll ever say you need to see a movie in 3D because I hate 3D most of the time.
I don't...
Unless it's a gimmick. Gimmick 3D is good.
I've seen quite a few good movies, so I don't think it's that. Saving Private Ryan, I've seen. That was a great movie.
Probably because you were forced to watch that for school. You didn't watch that for pleasure.
No, I watched it.
It's a weird movie to watch for pleasure.
The other one I was going to watch was Full Metal Jacket, but I got through like first 15 minutes. I got distracted. I had to do something else. So
it's a good movie. It kind of falls apart after boot camp a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like once they go to Nam, it kind of falls apart.
I know it's one of my dad's favorite movies, so
it's a good movie though.
But yeah, I've seen enough movies that I think I have a good enough selection just to know that I just don't like movies as a thing.
I just feel like you just need to just like maybe one day you just need to like binge on some movie. It's just some ones you've heard that are really good and just watch them all and just see what happens to you there. Maybe you just need to be in the mindset for it. That's the thing, and you're just never in the mindset for it because you're always busy.
Yeah, I'm constantly doing like there's almost no point in my day where I'm not doing something.
Right.
So, like, sitting down and watching a movie, I'm going to be doing something else at the same time, and I feel like that's just going to take away from it.
Right.
Like, I'm going to be working on a paper I have to do, or I'm going to be writing a script for the programming course we have to take, or I'm going to be doing something else that's going to distract me.
Like, I feel like if, like, when we're on, what is it? Like, when we're off for a month or something like that, and you just have time.
Maybe I'll do it over break.
A break. After our semester is done, and you just have, like, time.
Maybe. We'll see.
Just sit yourself down and watch
I already have quite a few things planned I have to take care of over break, so I won't even have time.
What? Just go into the spiel.
Yeah, I was going to say, we started with the spiel, and we just went to a 15-minute tangent about my not appreciating
because we talked about
movies.
Star Wars, and then we got into the thing. So that's the end of the Star Wars minute, it's the end of the scolding Brad minute.
Yeah. That's going to become the new segment, is him scolding me every week for not liking movies. But... Can you make any more noise?
I was just trying to pick that up.
Alright, time for the spiel. If you want to get in touch with us, you can do that at completewithdlc@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do that. We're completewithdlc there too. We're on YouTube, we're on SoundCloud, we're on Stitchers, and we're on iTunes.
Avoid SoundCloud, I feel like.
Yeah, SoundCloud is doing this weird thing with us where it's not happy with us right now. So SoundCloud's kind of name. Yeah. Stick to Stitcher, stick to iTunes.
Stick to YouTube.
YouTube now has all 4 episodes. I finished that a couple days ago, so that's completely up to date. And
the videos on YouTube of the episodes will probably go up later than just the Stitcher iTunes versions.
Yeah, so the way it's going to go is it's going to be uploaded to iTunes and Stitcher first, and then it's going to be uploaded to YouTube. Usually, I'm going to try to do it the day of or the day after. Probably the day after if I had to guess. So it'll be iTunes and Stitcher on Friday, YouTube on Saturday. Most likely. I feel like I should point out that if there's going to be a hiccup with the RSS feed, it's going to be after this episode, because most likely we're going to have to switch the RSS feed after this episode, and it might cause some problems with Stitcher and iTunes. We'll see, but I don't think so.
Mainly iTunes, I feel like is going to be the problem. I haven't looked into Stitcher, though. But Stitcher is easily given us a thing to go to. iTunes hasn't.
Okay, we'll have to do some research on that.
Yeah.
Man, my spiel used to go so smoothly, and now the last couple of weeks it's just been all screwed up.
Just because there's problems.
Yeah, we have technical difficulties. But anyway, that's the list of the show accounts you can follow and talk to. Jacob, if they want to get in touch with you, where can they do that?
Anywhere in the world, you can just come find me. You can
come up and hug them.
Go on any social media and look up It's J Griff, basically like ITSJYGRIFF. Same thing, Xbox and PlayStation. I'm gonna be making a Nintendo ID soon with that.
Are you?
Because the mobile games are coming, and you need like a. They're actually just making like a regular account. It's not a 20-digit friend code anymore. So, eventually I'll be also on Nintendo with that. But you just come find me, Brad. Where can I find you?
You can find me on Twitch and Twitter. I don't know why I just went Twitch.
Twitch, because they have both of the kind of same name.
I got halfway through and forgot which one I wanted to say.
Yeah.
So you can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Kalgne, Kalgne. If you find someone named Cousin on Twitter, that is me.
Yeah, just change your name to Brad.
Yeah, I'll get around.
It's easy. It's a 1-second fix.
I'll get around to it, but I don't know. I like Cousin. It carries a name with me.
Right.
But, yeah, that's about all. That's about all you can get in touch with me on is Twitch and Twitter. Leave us a review on iTunes. Send us an email. It really helps us out. We'll appreciate the feedback. Yeah. That's about everything I have for the spiel. Mm-hmm. So that's going to complete this episode.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have for the show. This has been Complete with DLC. I'm Jacob Griffin.
I'm Brad Knight.
And thank you for listening.